Well, hello there, fans. You are in Kana's corner, but I am not Kanashimi. No, I am not. She is sick today, like I already told you. Today, in the corner, though, we have the illustrious Robert Axelrod. Say hello to your fans.
Hi there, everybody.
All right, awesome. You may know Mr. Axelrod as the evil Lord Zedd from the
Ah,
Power
yes.
Rangers. So, do you want to tell us what it was like to be Lord Zedd in I think it was like 7 seasons of the Power Rangers, was it?
Yeah, it was about 5 seasons. I started out on the Power Rangers doing Finster, the Queen Scientist.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was about 60, 70 episodes into the show, Lord Zed was invented. So I started doing Lord Zed. So I was doing both characters. And that, all totaled lasted, I think, 6 or 7 seasons.
Right. Um, what was it like portraying two characters on the same show who were kind of like on different, were they different sides? I don't remember. I can't even remember anymore.
They were both part of the bad guys.
Oh, were they? I see. I don't even remember.
Yeah,
It's been so long.
I had scenes where I'd be talking to myself with
How much fun
Finster
was
and
that?
Lord Zed. It's very rewarding. That happens all the time in voiceover because voiceover people are cast because they're versatile. So, I did both voices, and you couldn't tell that it was one person doing both voices.
That just means you're very talented.
Yeah,
What would you say is like your favorite episode to do, or if you can pick one?
there was a couple that I did in Serpentina that I really liked. I liked the first episode that I appeared on, that Lord Zed appeared on. That was a very strong episode. I have that on DVD. I show the fans at at the conventions that I go to, and that's one of my favorite episodes. And there's an episode on Serpentina. Serpentina was Lord Zed's Zord, that he'd fly around in with the rest
Mm.
of the crew. And some of those episodes were very strong.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now, what was your least favorite episode? Like, was there one episode where it was just like, oh gosh, I don't want to do this today?
Uh,
Like maybe there was a line or something that you had to say that you just didn't want to say.
well, if there was a line that I didn't want to say, they'd let me change it.
Oh, did they?
Uh, I had a lot of freedom in doing the part. If, cause, sometimes we get a new writer, uh, who would be writing the show and, they would come up with some lines that Lord they just wouldn't say. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I would change them in the studio. We'd rewrite them. Scott Page, who was the producer and director, uh, of the post-production stuff, the voices, uh, let me rewrite pretty liberally. So there was nothing that I had to say that I really regretted. Uh, I didn't care too much for the marriage between Lord Zed and Rita. It kind of took away the tension.
Yeah, that's kind of like maybe one of those weird things that just
Well, it's turning into Father's Knows Best. It
yeah,
was an old family show. It took away the tension.
right. Now, did they credit you as a writer in the credits because of that?
Yes, yeah.
They
Well,
did.
I actually wrote the show the first season. I wrote the dialogue to be dubbed. I wrote just the Japanese to English dialogue.
Oh, did
So,
you?
so I got, additional dialogue credit the first year.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So, yeah, I had been an ADR writer. Does everybody know what ADR is?
We've had a couple people on who have an ADR. I personally am not too familiar with it.
ADR is automated dialogue replacement. It's a fancy term for dubbing.
Right.
So I like to use that term ADR, automated dialogue replacement. So anytime I say that, I mean dubbing.
Right. It's a fancy word of saying, your job makes you sound
Yeah,
more professional.
makes it sound more professional, right? And that's what it is. It's all automated now. The way the computers work, uh,
Right.
it's all automated. I do a panel explaining how it all works, and
Actually, yeah.
what the writer's part is in when I go to the conventions. That's one of my panels.
I actually went to a panel like that before. They actually did explain like the old way of how they used to loop and whatnot, and
Yeah.
it seems like the new way is a lot more streamlined and a lot less work.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um, Now I also noticed that you were also in Digimon as
Yes.
Armadillo.
Yes.
How much fun was that being part of like?
Armadillo Man was a lot of fun. Armadillo Man sounded like this. They wanted him from Texas, so I gave it a little Texas twang. Used my own voice pretty much with the Texas twang, and it uh, it was a neat role. I got to do the movie, which was nice as Armadillo Man. So that lasted a couple of seasons.
You did about 25 episodes. It looks like.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I also did Wizardmon
Did you?
in that show. Yeah, that. No, not too many people know that. Every so often, I'll run into some fans at the conventions and say, "You did Wizardmon, didn't you?" And the Wizardmon was around for 4 episodes, but he made such a great impression that people just loved him.
Right. I think everybody has fond memories of Digimon, and everyone loves
Yeah,
pretty much all the characters in there,
yeah,
and it's so nice to run into someone and be like, "Oh, you were in Digimon? Oh my gosh, that was awesome!"
yeah, yeah.
So you were also in the Big O for a couple episodes. It looks like,
Yes.
and that was a
That was
door.
a long time ago, so I don't remember too much about it. But yeah, I was in the Big O. I was in Akira. I was in what's the name of that show? Uh, Cowboy Bebop.
Mm. Who did you play in that?
I don't remember. I have it written down someplace, and I forget where I wrote it down, but a fan told me, so I wrote it down. Professor somebody or something.
Right. Well,
Oh,
we'll have to look that up.
one of the shows I played a character called Ham and Egg. That was
Really.
Cowboy Bebop.
Now, it looks like you've done some live action work in the recent years.
Oh yeah, I've been doing live action work uh, since I returned to acting in 1979.
Oh, really?
Uh, yeah. I started out the first job I got in Los Angeles when I returned to acting. I'd been an actor in New York in
Hmm.
the late 60s and early 70s, and I gave it up to go into music. And I was a professional musician for 8 years.
Oh,
And
what
I
did you
came out
play?
to electric bass.
Ah.
Played electric bass, and I sang. I sang mostly harmony, mostly backup stuff.
Mhm.
So I did that for 8 years, and I got fed up with music because bands kept breaking up, and I said, let me go back into acting because you mainly have to depend on only yourself, and I like that. So I switched back to acting in Los Angeles in 1979. I come from New York to Los Angeles in '75 as a musician. I came to LA with a band that I had joined in LA while I was visiting. So I went home and sold everything I had in New York except my music equipment and came out to LA and joined this band, which promptly broke up. So I
Life
was
as
in
a
LA
musician.
with, yeah, I was in LA with no band. So I joined another band which didn't last, and another band which didn't last. And I got really fed up with the bands and the music, and it was time to grow up. So my hair was already down to my knees. I hadn't had a haircut in 8 years, and I I cut my hair and got back into acting, which was my first love, really. And the first job I had was on an educational film where I played a guy from outer space who lands on Earth in the library. And the librarian is there, and the librarian teaches him how to use the library. And that's the educational part about it. So it was
That
shown
sounds like
to elementary school kids to teach them how to use the library. So it was very basic language and very basic, straightforward plot. Uh, and that was my first job on an educational film. That's
sounds
my
like a lot
first
of fun.
union. Huh?
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it was great. I worked for 2 days straight on it, and it was my first time really in front of the cameras, except for a couple of commercials I did as a kid in New York, and it came out really good. And from
And you,
there, I did more and more on-camera work until in 1980, I got into voiceovers by doing an audition at the place that I was doing an on-camera job. The same studio was doing a cartoon series called Banner the Squirrel, about a talking squirrel. And I asked the director, can I audition for this? She said, sure. Because I was already there and working on something else, it was a good opportunity to get into this voiceover thing, this Banner the Squirrel cartoon. So I auditioned and I got the part of Banner the Squirrel, the lead role.
wow.
So we did 10 episodes of that, and that was anime. It wasn't science fiction anime, but it was anime nonetheless. It was Japanese cartoon, and we dubbed the English into it. And that's how I learned dubbing, by actually doing it.
Was that like a totally new thing for you?
Yes, totally new. The voiceover part wasn't, because I had fooled around with cartoon voices in New York.
Right.
So I knew I could do it, but the ADR, that was totally new.
A whole new game for you?
Oh yeah. But
No, and
luckily I got it down pretty easily. And the next job I did with voiceover was in 1981 for dubbing English into a foreign film that had been nominated for the Academy Award as Best Foreign Film in 1980. A picture called The Boat is Full. I played one of the lead characters in that. And from there, the work just seemed to blossom. It was the early 80s and cable TV was just getting real strong. The entertainment channels, like HBO and Family Channel and USA Network, they all were looking for children's programming, cartoons. So the producers on the TV stations decided it was cheaper to import a Japanese cartoon and dub English into it than it was to do a cartoon from scratch. This was
right.
before computers took over and started doing the animation. So there was an awful lot of cartoon work to be done, to be turned into English. So I was working all the time as a voiceover artist doing just that.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually I learned, I, I did Robotech, and
Mm-hmm.
that was the first big series. that we did, and then there was Digimon, and then the Power Rangers came along. So I've done
Right.
a lot of series, and there were a lot of series that went. There was one series we did, Little Women, that played on HBO, 52 episodes. Uh, it was a beautiful. We did a beautiful job. I wrote several of the episodes. At about 1985 or 86, I decided to try my hand at writing the script. And the first script I ever wrote was a porno script, a porno script. That's all I could get because they wanted to see if I could do the job. So
Well, you
I
got to
did
start
that.
somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. That's right. So I did that, and you had to write it very accurately. And then they saw I could write, so I started getting cartoon work and and more feature film work, legitimate feature film. And so that blossomed into. I probably have written about 150 uh, anime scripts.
Oh wow, that's an
So
impressive list there.
yeah, so there's part of my story right there.
Well, it was a wonderful story, and
And
I was
during that time also, actually you asked me about on camera work. During that time, I also was working on camera a lot. I did 4 movies with Charles Bronson,
oh
uh, Murphy's Law, Kinship Hay, uh, Assassination, and Death Wish 4.
mhm.
I also did The Blob, the remake of The Blob with Kevin Dillon and Shawnee Smith. Uh, that was in the late 80s. Oh, I did just tons of it. If you go on imdb.com, you'll see my whole resume is about 5, 6 pages.
Right. We were actually looking over that the before the interview to look at all the stuff you've done. We just
Yeah,
couldn't get everything. There's just so much there that you've done.
yeah.
Um, one of the more entertaining things that I saw was up towards the top. There was it seems you did an episode of Tim and Eric Awesome Show.
Yes, I've done 3 episodes of Ted and Eric.
That was a little bit of a surprise for me.
Yeah,
What character did you play, and what was your little stick there? I mean,
I
not to
think
say the episode.
the
Go
main
ahead.
stick I did is it's going to air sometime in April or May.
Hmm.
I haven't gotten the date yet. I just called them last week, in fact, and they told me to call them in a couple of weeks. They'd know. Uh, I played the newscaster, Terry Broge Hiplo. Hi, this is Terry Broge Hiplo with the afternoon news. And then I proceeded to do 10 minutes of comic news, comic news report. And I did it cold.
Oh,
I hadn't
nice.
even rehearsed it. I was just reading the teleprompter, and they were so impressed that I could do that. And that's because of all the anime I did.
Right.
And I had done some newscasting in high school and college on the college radio station, so I knew how to go into that newscaster thing. So they were very impressed with that. Hopefully that character is going to come back when they
Right.
start shooting again.
Well, I will definitely look forward to watching those episodes on Adult Swim.
Yeah.
Um, Now, have there ever been any, not ever, have there any recent projects that you've been working on that you want to talk about other than that?
Uh, well, I just did 4 new projects that I don't know where they're going to end up. So I can't talk about them in terms of where you can find them. But we
Right.
just did new dubs of Fist of the North Star, Captain Harlock, Guy King, and what was the 4th one? Fist of the North Star, Guy King, Captain Harlock, and The Adventures of Naja.
Oh, So,
Adventures
are
of
they
Nadia is not science fiction. Adventures of Nadia is for little kids.
right?
But Guy King, and Harlock
Those are some
are
older
for
animes.
adults. Yeah,
Are they bringing them back, for, like remastering them, or are they like doing like
I think
movies?
it's a redub of the old episodes.
Oh, really? I actually saw a few episodes of Captain Harlock, and I really liked them. So I guess I'll have to check out the new redubs.
Yeah, yeah, new soundtrack, new redubs, and like I say, they haven't told me when whether they're going right to video or they're going to TV or what.
Right. Well, we will
But
look out for them.
I expect to be doing more for this company over the summer. So
Right.
I'll try to find out and post it on MySpace
We'll
or
do.
Facebook or something.
And you can always send us an email, and we'll be sure to get that information out there as soon as
Oh, okay.
possible for our fans who are
I will
fans of
do.
those. Now, I'm being told we're running a little short on time, so is there anything else you
Okay.
want to mention?
Well, I'm headed to Alabama in a couple of weeks for a convention called what's the name of it? Comic-Con, which I'm really looking forward to. I've never been to. Oh, I was in Alabama. Sure, I was in Alabama. Anime Alabama.
Anime Alabama?
I did. Was it Anime Alabama?
I'm not actually sure.
I was in Mobile, and this is in Tuscaloosa.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never been there, so that's going to be fun. And I'm
And we
just
were
about
talking.
to start working on something called Book Buddies, which is
Really?
reading books for children.
Mm-hmm.
That's very important. It's
Kind of like
volunteer work.
audiobooks.
Yeah, audiobooks, and it's actually reading on tape and reading live.
Oh, really?
So they're contacting some voiceover people to see if they want to participate in it. It's being done through a very busy voiceover casting director, Terry Burland, donating her time towards the project.
Right. Before we go, there is one last thing I would like to ask you. Would you be interested in performing a 918 The Fan tradition?
Say that again?
Would you be interested in doing for us a 918 The Fan tradition?
918 Fan tradition?
Yep.
What is that?
All of our guests, we ask them to perform live on air a bump for us, and we're going to cut it out of the interview later, and we're going to play it on the radio and whatnot. And we like to do it live for all the bloopers and whatnot and everything. All we need you to do is say, "My name is, I do this," and you're tuned in to 918 The Fan.
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
You're ready.
Oh, should I do it now? Okay.
Uh-huh.
My name is Robert Axelrod. I am the voice of those dead on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And you're listening to 918thefan.com. Good afternoon.
Awesome.
How'd that work?
That was a great bump. A lot of our other guests do a lot of bloopers and whatnot and everything. It's kind of amusing.
Yeah.
But that was a good one. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we leave it off to the music?
No, I've just about said my piece, unless you have another question.
I don't think so. Anyway, this is Kibs filling in for Kanashimi with Robert Axelrod, and you are tuned in to 918 The Fan. Everything you want